Hi everyone, I know we're a minute before we're supposed to start, but I'm just going to let everyone get coming into the doors of this online workshop and let you get settled, and just wanted to welcome you here. I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to share my screen for just a minute so that you'll see the downloaded planner that you guys should have for this workshop. All right, so this is the Authentic Holiday Hospitality Planner that I emailed out to all of you, and hopefully you have that, and I'm really glad you're here. There should be a chat box below this video on the page that you're watching this on, and I am going to type into that right now. And this chat box, you can either enter your name or you can sign in with Twitter. It's very easy to use. And you can also reach it by going to talk.io/kitchen fellowship. So that's tlk.io/kitchen fellowship. And I'll use this chat function for a Q&A at the end. And you can stick around for that if you have time. But I understand if your kids aren't napping or if you're at work and you need to pop in and out, totally cool. You can catch what you can and then catch up on the rest later. So I'm going to give it maybe another 30 seconds before I dive right in, and we'll work through this holiday planner together. If you haven't downloaded it yet and you're just joining us, then you can download it with the link underneath this video. Oh, it looks like Merritt's here. Great. I'm sure there's a lot more people here. I see viewers online. Glad you're here for the Authentic Holiday Hospitality Workshop today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then do a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll dive back in. All right, so my name is Alyssa, and I blog at kitchenfellowship.com. I'm glad you're here, whether you're new or old to Kitchen Fellowship. And Kitchen Fellowship is all about creating a life of fellowship and restoration, one meal at a time. And what better way to do that than over the holidays? There's so many meals that we have and that we go to, and events and gatherings. So now is the perfect time for Kitchen Fellowship and for authentic holiday hospitality. So again, there is a chat box below this video that you can kind of connect to people during this workshop. And then near the end, there'll be a Q&A session, and I'll answer questions then. So if you haven't downloaded your Authentic Hospitality Planner, you can do that below this video too. And if you don't want to write in it while you're listening, you don't have to do that. You can just fill it in later. Just listen, whatever you'd like to do. Take notes in a notebook, whatever is good. Works for me. So on November 1st, I went to my mailbox, and you would not believe the stack of catalogs I found in there. It was probably 2 inches thick, and it was all holiday stuff already in November. And it's just incredible, because sometimes that is the standard that we believe hospitality has to be up to. And maybe even if it's not ourselves, it's someone in our family. And when someone in our family believes that kind of stuff, like hospitality needs to be perfect and overdone, we can kind of get dragged along in that current with people. And oh, I'm seeing the chat box. People are saying hi. Glad you're here, everyone. So yeah, you can kind of get dragged along in that current, and that's not what we want if we want authentic holiday. So one of the catalogs I got, I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm pretty sure there are fur placemats in this picture, and there's like 5 to 6, maybe even 7 plates on the table, and tons of trees and reindeer, and just, it's over the top. And so what we kind of want to get away from this year in the holidays that we celebrate is the over the top expressions of, the over the top expressions of celebration. We can kind of tone it down and things will be more simple and more authentic. And so what I'd like to do now is dive into the Authentic Holiday Hospitality Planner. So if you can get that out, I'm going to screen share and then walk you through that document, and then I'll be back at the end. My face will be back at the end so that we can work through a few more questions and answers. All right. Amber says you saw that catalog and thought no one would be able to see each other. Yes, I feel that same way. That is funny. All right, so this is the first page of the holiday planner, and I'll just kind of walk you through it and we'll kind of learn as we go along. So the first page is just a welcome from me. I'd love to walk you through this holiday journey, and if you're facing some struggles or frustrations or anything that's coming up over the holidays, send me an email about it because I would love to hear about it. And I would love to walk alongside you in that. In this workshop, I'm going to give you an introduction. We'll talk about authentic hospitality. We'll create some holiday intentions. I've made some calendars for you, number 4. And then I'll talk about using your gifts over the holidays, holiday food, which is a huge category, relationships, and then at the end, I kind of did a fun gift-giving list that I'll walk you through as well. So we can scroll to page number 2. This is what authentic hospitality is all about. Authentic hospitality is choosing to spend your time on the things that will help you love other people well and letting go of the rest. And if that is your standard for the holidays, they're going to be a lot more simple, they'll be more meaningful, they'll be more authentic, and I think your heart will feel happier afterwards. A lot of times we think hospitality only happens in our own house, but hospitality can happen anywhere. It can happen in your home. It can happen in your family's home, like extended family's home. Like you can be hospitable in someone else's home. It can happen in the grocery store. All that it is, opening your heart and giving people a friendly and a generous reception. And it's not about entertainment or anything like that. It's just about being authentically generous with people and opening your heart to the people who come into your house, the guests that you meet at other parties, visitors, even strangers, like I said, strangers at the store. So I'm still on page number 2 if you're just joining us in the downloaded worksheet planner. But if you're like me, you have seen an overwhelming amount of information about the holidays. Pins, posts, articles, emails, tricks and tips on how to prepare for the holidays, things to do on the holidays. Maybe it's 10 side dishes that you must have on your table this Thanksgiving, or 100 of the best Christmas cookie recipes, or 50 homemade gifts for teachers, or maybe it's an Advent calendar or Christmas devotionals. Those are all good things, but when you add them up, they become really overwhelming. And in order to have an authentic holiday that is full of hospitality, we don't need to do everything that we see or everything that we know, like all the traditions that we might have. It's one of the ways to keep things simple if we pare back on the influences in our life for holidays and kind of like our traditions from the past. So at the bottom of page 2, I talk about making a mindset shift. And the mindset shift that I would love for us to embrace, and I'm not forcing this on you at all, but sometimes I think we are busy doing the holidays instead of embracing the holidays and embracing the people that we gather with. So that mindset shift can be like from entertaining over to people. And when we make that shift, it's incredible how authentic our gatherings can be, because we're not focused on all these external holiday things that we need to do, but we're focused on the people in front of us. So you can fill that in for the mindset shift, entertaining to like the people in front of us. Merritt just says Christmas stuff was out right after Halloween. Yes, it's crazy. So I have been listening to this new podcast. It's called the Every Branch Podcast. And episode number 25 by Brooke and Sarah is all about integrating work and play. And I loved the topic. I love the topic because over the holidays, sometimes we just do so much instead of doing things together. So they talked about the work that you have to get done. How can you turn that into play? And how can you use your tasks as a way to form relationships? Awesome stuff. If you have a chance to listen to that, I would totally recommend it. It's the Every Branch Podcast by Brooke and Sarah. And number 25 was the episode that was integrating work and play. So if you think about integrating the things that you have to do over the holidays, instead of, the things that you have to do versus spending time with people, how can you kind of integrate those? Maybe an example of that would be like your aunt makes this cheese platter tree that is 2 feet tall, and it's an impressive tree, but she spent an hour and a half making it, and you guys didn't even get to have a conversation during that time. So instead of making a cheese platter tree that is impressive that you might not remember the next year, try to make it with people. It would just be better. So let's move on to page 3. And again, if you're just joining us, there is a chat box down below where you can converse during this workshop and get to know each other better. And I will use it as a Q&A at the end. All right, so we're on page number 3, authentic hospitality. I'd love to read through a couple of these. You can read through the rest of them on your own, but some of them just are great ways to love people well over the holidays. And I've left room down here at the bottom right-hand corner for you to list personal ways that you'll love other people well. And let's see, let's pick out some of them. Okay, pass on meaningful traditions, but let go of what leaves you exhausted. So maybe you come from a family where you have like 25 holiday traditions that you do every year, and without fail, you have to do them. And you do them, but by the time your guests arrived, you're so exhausted that you can't even have meaningful conversations with them. What can you pare down this year and leave behind so that you can engage people when they're in your presence? Invite people to help you in the kitchen. That's a big one. Work side by side. That fosters good friendships, good relationships, and it feels hospitable. You're not just shoving someone in the living room and saying, oh, here's some pop, enjoy your time, sitting alone when I'm in the kitchen. So invite people along with you. Instead of intricate decorations, create an atmosphere of refuge. I know sometimes it is so easy to decorate over the holidays, and decorations aren't bad, but sometimes they're over the top. Maybe you put wreaths up everywhere and outside Christmas lights, and you have 3 little Christmas trees in your house and garlands on your staircase and an incredible tablescape and just over the top decorations everywhere. And so when you invite people in, it's just super festive and Christmassy. But maybe what they need is just a blanket on the couch and a cup of hot tea, and for you to sit with them and have a good conversation with them as you eat cookies. How can you create an atmosphere of refuge this holiday? Another thing that I love to do that creates authentic hospitality is inviting other people who aren't in your family or who aren't maybe super close friends. Invite them to your holiday table. It could be the widowed neighbor, the college student, the refugee. Growing up, I always had different people at our holiday table. My parents always invited people. One year they invited my dad's work associate who was from Trinidad. My dad one time had a translator in Puerto Rico, and he invited their whole family to come to Christmas with us, and they stayed with us, and I can remember having such a great time preparing the guest bedroom with my mom for the family, making little gifts, like homemade gifts for the little girls who came. It was just incredible. And a lot of people don't have a place to go over the holidays. So think about opening your table and just loving people well that way. Let's see, what else? There's a few others. Oh, I love giving gift experiences instead of like trinkets. So instead of getting like a cheap $10 gift from the store that nobody's really going to enjoy, how could you create an experience for people that you can enjoy together and get to know each other better? Making that shift can make the holidays more meaningful. I like what Laura is saying in the chat box right now. My family is notorious for having full-blown photo shoot every holiday. We're all about ready to jump out the window. Yes, I understand that. Christmas caroling. You want to go Christmas caroling, Julia, but you're tired because you're too busy. Yes. Pare down and make room for that. Oh, Merritt, yeah, you're trying to consider an atmosphere of refuge in your home. That's good. Thank you guys for participating. All right, let's move on to page number 4. If you're just joining us, we are hopping to page number 4 in the Authentic Holiday Hospitality Planner. And I'm kind of working through all of this stuff with you. All right, so holiday intentions. Write down all the holidays that you'll be celebrating from now until January. I've created several calendars for us, and those are further down in the workbook, but I'll get to those in a minute. But usually people have holidays from like November to January. So write those down. And I've left them blank because I know some people might celebrate Hanukkah instead of Christmas or something, because we have readers from all over the world at Kitchen Fellowship. So fill in your holidays. Like here, 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 here. My holidays would be Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I might put on one line. So write those down first. And then we're going to be creating an intention or like a mission for those holidays. And they'll be the building blocks for the type of holiday you want to have. And if you have family or roommates or friends that you'll be celebrating those holidays with, bring them into the loop when setting these intentions and ask them, like, what's important to them? What brings them joy? What makes them feel special over the holidays? And if you need more room, like maybe you can write on the back of page 4, take some notes on their thoughts, that kind of thing. And then we're going to create these intentions. And to do that, I would love for you to name the feeling or the adjective that you would just love to embrace in that holiday. So for Thanksgiving, it could be like silly and fun. For Christmas, it could be worshipful and holy. Whatever you want to write down, just write it down. And they can all be the same. If you want to keep your holidays super simple, just write simple for your intention on all of them. Or they can be different. It's up to you. Maybe for New Year's, you'd like to have like a spirit of remembrance, because maybe you recently lost a loved one and you would love to be able to like remember them on New Year's. And maybe that means weaving that intention in by making their favorite dish or setting the table with their china or telling stories about them so that you can remember together. Laura just says, creating a mission for the holidays. Would never have thought of this. Thanks, Laura. Yes, it's good to do. Maybe like for Christmas, if you wanted it to be more worshipful and holy, how could you pick and choose events that were more worshipful? Maybe it means going to Mass on Christmas Eve instead of like a ruckus gathering that doesn't bring you peace and doesn't make you feel full of worship. Maybe it's the type of music you listen to or the type of things that you do and don't do during that month that can create a better atmosphere for your holiday. It's a good idea to balance out what's important to everyone. That's a part of hospitality, that generous reception your family needs. And an example of that would be some people in my family love giving gifts, tons of gifts, expensive gifts. Every Christmas they love giving gifts. And some other people in our family like to give to charity so that people can have clean drinking water. And so in order to be hospitable to both type of people, it's good to have a balance of both of those type of giving. Maybe your holiday intention could be generosity, and it's okay if it takes different forms. Looks like some more people are joining us. That's great. It's fun to see you guys here. Yeah, and Julia says that her favorite New Year's was when she planned to sing the Hallelujah chorus right at midnight with the whole world, accompanied by a symphony online. Oh, beautiful. I would like to know more about that too, Julia. Another example of like carrying an intention through your holiday. Some of us are introverts. I'm definitely an introvert. And some of us are extroverts. And so if your holiday intention was fun, that will look different for both types of people. So maybe the extroverts want to go to most of the parties, and the introverts would rather stay home and go and have like 4 or 5 close friends over for a little intimate party. So if you can balance that and do a little bit of both, it's really great. And then, so when things come up, whether it's events or invitations or opportunity, you can test them against your mission for the holiday. That will help the holidays feel more authentic and it might bring more peace into your family if you're focused on that instead of all the wide array of opportunities that await you on the holidays. And if your intention is simple, but you have 18 family traditions that you do every year, maybe you could have like each family member pick one important tradition and only do those. Or so you're doing like 4 traditions, and maybe you could spread them out through the month of December. That would ease the burden there. All right, so after you're done creating those intentions, we can move on to page 5. And if you want to create them later, we can do that too. Okay, let's scroll to page 5 is like below the calendars, but I'm gonna stop on this calendar here for a minute. All right, I've created 3 calendars for you, and you might already have calendars that you use, but this is a good way for you to put your intention in the front of your mind so that you can see it a lot and you can focus on it throughout the month. And with the calendar, you can mark on here different holidays that you'll be celebrating so that you can kind of get an overview of what you're doing, and that will help you say no to certain opportunities. Lori says, what if your husband doesn't want to open your holiday table? I understand that. Maybe you could have a meal or a gathering outside of the holidays that you just celebrate the people in your community that need someone to love them. So it doesn't have to be on Christmas Day. It doesn't have to be Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving. It could be another time. Just try that out and see how it goes. All right, let's move on to page number 5. Christy says she has traditions that need to go. I understand that. Me too. Okay, page number 5 in the workbook. Using your gifts for hospitality. I want you to write down the gifts that you have, the things that you're really good at, and then we're going to let go of the rest over the holidays. And it might take you a minute or so to figure what your gifts are or what you want to write down. And then after that, we'll talk about like how you could use your gifts to support authentic holiday hospitality. And I'll give you some examples. Oh, Julia is talking about a Muslim friend that she wants to open her home to sometime. That would be a good idea. Page 5 is making you think. Good, Julia. All right. So let's go through some examples of how you could use your gifts over the holidays. Maybe you are an awesome singer, and instead of bringing like a huge dish of homemade cranberry sauce because you're terrible at cooking, instead of bringing that sauce to Thanksgiving, maybe you could bring a guitar to the next family party instead. Maybe you could share carols at a nursing home. That would be a great way to use that gift. Maybe you're a really good writer, and what would it look like to write meaningful notes of thanks to the often unappreciated people in your life? Maybe your postman, maybe your librarian, maybe military veterans, or your mechanic, or your doctor, or maybe you even help other family members write their holiday letters, and you leave the baking or the gift wrapping to somebody else. Maybe you are an exhausted mom and you have a newborn. Just cater your dinner. Don't worry about it. Cater your dinner, have someone else bring it in. And maybe your gift is listening well. Do that. It's important. Maybe you're an awesome cook, and instead of just taking all of the cooking responsibilities yourself, what if you taught other people the family recipes this year? That would be a good way to use your gifts and open your heart of hospitality to the other people in your home. Maybe you're really good at decorating tables, but instead of going over the top and putting down like fur placemats in that magazine that I showed you in the beginning, maybe you could create place cards with guest names on them that maybe they're like actually a mini photo book of the family that they could enjoy all year long. So something that is useful as well. Maybe you're a nature lover and instead of like cooking and baking like 10 plates of cookies for the next like cookie exchange, maybe you could just say, you know what, I would love to take you guys on a snowshoe hike instead of that. That is awesome. Do that. Maybe your gift is cleaning. I know some people who are awesome at cleaning. Offer to do that. Bring people in by using your gifts. Serve other people by using your gifts. It's opening your heart of hospitality that way. All right, let's move on to page number 6. If you're just joining us, we're on page number 6 of the Authentic Holiday Hospitality Planner. I like what Amber is saying in the chat box right now, sending "we're thankful for you" cards instead of Christmas cards. Oh, that's so great. So great. All right. Page number 6. Let's talk about food. In order to have a less stressful and a more meaningful holiday, we need to make another mindset shift here. And oftentimes the holidays, they're awesome and they're full of celebration and festivities, but our tables become this place of tradition and this place of putting on a great spread and being showy and like over the top. So we need to shift away from that and shift towards food to nourish. To me, that is authentic, because if we're not stuffing our faces and we're carefully crafting what we're putting on the table to serve, we'll be nourishing ourselves and we'll be nourishing our families. I'm going to take a sip of water, just a second. All right. So mindset shift here at the top of page 6, is that tradition and showy great spread to creating food that nourishes. If we land on this idea of making food that nourishes, it can be a mindset that we carry throughout the holidays that will help us eat well and not mindlessly. My friend Delphina, she blogs at codetowellness.com. I'm going to put that in the chat box right now. Okay, she blogs there, Delphina, and she made a simple recipe book that if you guys want, I can email that out to you. She just has some great ideas to help us be more mindful about food over the holidays. And, sometimes our holidays for food, our food traditions, they are so set in stone. That's not always a bad thing, but that doesn't leave any room to flex and bend and create menus that are nourishing to us. Sometimes people say, well, Thanksgiving, we need cranberry jelly and cranberry relish and cranberry from can, and we need squash and yams and sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes and rice dressing and bread stuffing, and it just gets overwhelming at times when like a single side dish of like sweet potatoes might do the trick. So it doesn't always have to be in excess. I know sometimes that's fun to have that big festive spread, but really consider nourishing this year. All right, let's move on to page number 7. Actually, I'm going to back up page number 6. Let's stay there for a minute. Of course, you can read these all on your own, these tips for planning holiday meals. But number 2, one of the ways I love to stay organized is to like make copies of all the recipes that I want to make. And then I can just bind them all together with a paper clip, and they're all in one place. It's very good for me to have them in one place. Or I can make a Pinterest board out of all of the recipes that I want to make for like Christmas or New Year's. And the thing is, I think a lot of our family members might have Pinterest, and we could send those pins to them and be like, hey, would you mind cooking this dish? Or hey, why don't you bring this dish to the party? That creates that atmosphere of camaraderie, which is awesome. And yeah, I think the rest you can figure out on your own there. Oh, Amber says she tends to send her single Thanksgiving guests home with a nice plate of leftovers. Awesome idea, Amber. Yes, send your leftovers home with people. Or freeze it. That's what my mom always does. All right, let's move on to page number 7, relationships. I was talking with Laura. I think she's here in the chat. I was talking with her yesterday, and sometimes we agree that like the holidays can bring out awkwardness because maybe we're hanging out with people we haven't seen in a year or more, or maybe we're having holiday parties with people we've seen 10 times in the month of December already, and we're all talked out. It can be kind of like overwhelming to see all these people for extended periods of time, like over several different months. So, oh, Julia is still talking about food. I think you guys are still talking about food. Good reminder to get containers to send home for guests. That's good. All right, so ideas for meaningful connections when you're opening up your home or even gathering in other people's homes. Oh, Cheryl's here. Hi, Cheryl. Potlucks are a great way to keep food prep and focus on relationships. Love it. Amber says yes to awkwardness. Yes, holidays can be awkward. One of the ways that you can foster more meaningful connections is to notice your family and friends who need a kind word spoken to them. Like, think about it. Like, if you just open your eyes and mindfully watch people at your holiday parties, some people will be like made fun of, off the cuff, not like really mean, but just tiny little biting comments. Sometimes people nitpick at each other. Sometimes people get angry. So who can you like just honor and encourage and say nice things about and help diffuse weirdness? Kids would say forced family fun. Yes, I get it. I get it. So one of the next things that I like to do for parties is to be mindful about what I want to learn from people, what conversations I want to have, and what I want to offer people. Because I am not the greatest at like conversations just off the cuff, pulled out of my brain neat real quick, not the best at that. So it's good for me to think beforehand, like what I want to ask my family members, what I'd love to learn from them, what I want to tell people about myself, so that when someone asks me like, oh, so what have you been up to? How's work? Then you don't have to say, oh, it's good. I've been busy. And then the conversation just stops. No, don't do that. Have questions that you'd love to ask your friends and family. Maybe you even write them down on a piece of paper and pass them out to everyone. Amber says she has a drinking game when someone is rude or outrageous. That's kind of funny. Keeps things light. Maybe your intention will be silly this year. Yeah, so maybe you pass out cards that have questions that your family can ask and answer for each other. If that would feel like, if that would feel nice and not forced for your family, try that. And then another thing, okay, number 3 on page 7. Who might you offer a piece of the party planning to? Maybe you're the person that does it all. So who could you invite to help you? Maybe it's your son or daughter, a cousin. Bring someone into the loop for your next family gathering. And if there's another person in your family, and it's not you, someone who just monopolizes every aspect of party planning, maybe you could just kindly say to them, I'd like to spend more time with you this year during the holidays, and I thought that helping you plan the next gathering would be a perfect way to do that. So you're not saying, I want to take over. You're just saying, I would just love to help. And hopefully they will, because you're wanting to spend time with them. Moving on to number 4 on page number 7, negative traditions. Oh my goodness. I know that we have them in our family, and I think every family does. Yeah, they come out in full force during the holidays. Maybe it's anger or sarcasm. I like sarcasm, but sometimes it can be mean. How can you think about restoring those types of traditions and like cutting them off and standing for something different? Maybe it means standing up for someone, or just passing on what's good and trying to infuse more hope into your holidays instead of angst and anger, even if you're feeling the one who's like angsty. Try to lead by example. And number 5, seek personal restoration. When you are wrapping your gifts, when you are buying candy canes, whatever it is you're doing, what in your heart needs restoration? What needs comforted before you gather with people on the holidays? It's a good time to like take a moment for personal reflection, because sometimes that can just really transform your holiday gatherings if you have a different attitude and a different mind about you. Number 6 on page 7. You know, a lot of families, they're not all rosy, and maybe a divorce just happened in your family, and you're having to spend time with like a dad and his new girlfriend, or maybe someone is bringing a weird cousin to dinner, or a weird boyfriend, or it's just awkward. And so how can you accept people, their whole being, the rough and the beautiful parts? Think about how you can do that before the holidays happen, so that you're prepared to do that once the holidays come. And then number 7 on page 7, give yourself grace. Laura says, how do you suggest diffusing jabby remarks or guilt trips? That's a good question, Laura. I think being honest with people is good. Yeah, repeating it back to them as a question, and let the silence make the explanation for themselves. Yes. I think just telling people how you feel, like, hey, that was not the nicest comment. I don't appreciate remarks like that. And this is a tough question because I understand the jabs, but maybe just try to be kind back and diffuse the jabby remarks by honoring the other person and saying nice about them. Yeah, self-awareness. Just try to say nice things about other people. Yeah, and back to number 7, give yourself grace. Yes, grace before you even let them in the door. We all need it because everyone has their own brokenness. Laura, no, we can talk more about that, Laura. Everyone has their own brokenness and everyone needs grace. Everyone needs love and hospitality over the holidays. So just continue to offer it to people, even if sometimes you don't get it in return. And I think this video is like delayed like a minute or two. So if you're hearing this now, I would love for you to ask any holiday questions you have in the chat box right now, so that after I'm done with page 8, we can get to the Q&A. Okay, so number 8, we'll go to page 8, gift giving list. I love keeping track of my gift giving, because then I can list all the people I want to buy gifts for or make gifts for in one place. And this really helps me not overbuy. This helps me keep things simple and meaningful. And you can bring your intentions here. And, you know, if you want a simple holiday, how can you keep gifts for everyone simple? If you want a silly holiday, how can you make gifts or give experiences that are just crazy fun and silly, that make people laugh? It's a good idea to just keep this all in one place. And I kind of want to go back to one of those beginning pages. You don't have to scroll back, but authentic holiday hospitality is choosing to spend your time on things that will help you love other people well and letting go of the rest. And that is really, really important to do. And I'm going to have the Q&A in just a second, but I'm just so glad you came today. I'm glad you're here. I'm grateful that you're participating and that you're getting something out of this workshop. And again, as the holidays come closer, if you have questions about this workshop or your frustrations in the kitchen or with the holidays, please reach out to me. I don't want to be a blogger who just is unreachable. I'm here to make friendship with you. I'm here to know you, and I'm here to let you know me. So you can send me an email at Alysa, A-L-Y-S-A, @kitchenfellowship.com. And I just love to walk alongside you as you plan. And I am gonna flip the video back around now. Okay, there it is. And as I'm going forward in December, I would love to, I'm looking at that chat box. I would love to do more workshops like this, and I might even think about putting together a holiday box that, like a kitchen fellowship box that I mail out to people that will help them foster more meaningful connections. And maybe it's like a craft that you can do with your family members, or recipes to make with a bunch of girlfriends that you invite over for a night of like relaxation before the big holidays come. I'm thinking about that. So if you'd be interested in something like that, you can let me know in the chat box, or you can email me. And over the next months and maybe into 2016, I would love to do more workshops on like cooking and hospitality, restoration, fellowship, erasing loneliness, that kind of stuff. So if you'd be interested in that, let me know. That would be very helpful. I'm going to check the chat box out now and see if you guys have questions. Laura says, I love the idea of extending the invitation even with the gifts. Oh, the intention, even with the gifts. Making and picking what to buy makes it so much easier. Yes, it does. People love my cookies, but I'm not sure I like being the manacle baker every year. I'm going to think about holiday intentions this year. Yes, Julia. If people love your cookies and they're awesome, maybe keep making them, but invite other people to make them with you. And instead of making 20 kinds, maybe make 10 kinds. Or maybe put a bunch of dough in the freezer so that you can bake them later. Or if you attend a church, I know a lot of times churches don't mind if you use their kitchens. Could you use 5 ovens at once and get your cookies done real quick that way? Laura says she would love a box. Yes, I'm thinking of doing that holiday box from Kitchen Fellowship. So I will think more about that, and if you guys have input, let me know. Julia says yes to more workshops. Oh, thank you, Amber. I hope that you set your intentions and that you feel like your holiday is yours again. That's beautiful. Laura says more workshops. She feels like these pages could have been workshops. Yes, I could do that. Turn those into workshops. Yes, have people join in the baking with you. Definitely. If you're just joining us, I don't know if you just hopped on, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat box below, and I will answer them for you. Just gonna wait a few more minutes for people to get their final questions in, because I think this video lags like a minute behind. So I'm live, but kind of not. Let's see. We live an hour away from the rest of the family. Usually party conversations center around their lives and happenings there. We usually leave gatherings feel left out and bored. Suggestions. Yes. I would go back to thinking of meaningful questions that you can ask people when you're there. Maybe if they are your family, maybe you can all ask each other, like, what's your favorite childhood memory? What is one thing that you learned this year that really made a difference in your life? What is one thing that was hard for you this year? If you can shift the conversation, and you might have to do it a lot during the party. I understand that because we have some family members that are, they're just all one big group and they live close together and they do that same thing. But continue to like interject yourself into those conversations and shift the conversation and see what happens. Let's see. Amber would love a workshop for each holiday in my spare time. I have some of that. I could do that. Julia says she's already slowed down the holiday frenzy. She feels the calm in her spirit. You are welcome, Julia. I'm glad you could be here today. Really glad you could be here. Let's see. Any more questions coming in? I think that must be all the questions. And again, you can email me at Alysa, ALYSA, at kitchenfellowship.com. I would love to answer questions for you. And sometimes I think better when I have time to think about stuff than on my feet like this. But I would love to help you guys over the holidays and keep bringing you fun workshops. And there will be a replay of this. I will email that out to you. So if you want to go back to it and catch up, or if you want to just kind of meditate on it more. Amber says she'll have questions later. Yep, okay. So if you want to review this later, you can do that. I'll send it to you maybe next week sometime. Yeah, before Thanksgiving. That'll be good. I was looking at my calendar. All right, I am so glad you guys came. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful that you're part of the Kitchen Fellowship community. And I would love for you to keep sharing Kitchen Fellowship with your friends, because I am on a mission to help you create lives of fellowship and restoration, one meal at a time. All right, thanks for coming, you guys. Bye. Oh, I'm not done. Julia asks about what is the box that I mentioned. Have you ever heard of like subscription boxes where you can get like makeup in a box or clothing in a box or knitting supplies in a box? I'm thinking of doing a Kitchen Fellowship box. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in it exactly yet, but I want it to be focused on fellowship and restoration and food and bringing people together around the table. So I'm going to think on what I'll put in that. Maybe it's a craft that you can do with your friends, and that will bring you together. A craft and craft supplies and some recipes, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that sums it up, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the blog, and keep sharing, keep stopping by, keep saying hi.